I am joined here by my good friend and my friends at Epiphan, but Dan Wallace. Dan?
It's great to see you, John.
Hey, great to see you again.
Yeah.
We just talked at NAB. We're now at Infocom. It's exciting to talk about what you guys are showcasing here at the show. What are some of the highlights that you guys are covering right now?
Well, for me, John, and what's fun about coming to Infocom is this is where we get to talk about integration and creating that seamless experience for the end users.
Right.
And since I first joined Epiphan back in 2017, I've seen a massive evolution in our industry. And where we started with our Pearl product line, it was all about, rock solid encoding. Get the stream out, get the recording right, make it easy, make it reliable. But now we've sort of evolved from endpoints to ecosystem, from products to platforms. And that's really what we're showing off here today.
That's fantastic. And I think that's critical because I think we have kind of like, there's no shortage of products out there. The question is on that, and you get to the integration phase, then you're trying to build a solution out of it, right?
Exactly.
And get everything kind of connected, working together.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe, is there something you want to start off and kind of just showcase here at the show that you guys are discussing?
Yeah, absolutely. So here, for example, this is probably our most popular product right now. This is Pearl Nexus. And this is probably the most popular product in higher ed right now for capturing classrooms. So in this setup, we've got this paired with a Q-SYS touch panel where an instructor can just walk into a room and just present their materials, whether they're connecting their laptop or whether they're using a document camera, any of the audio and video sources in that room. It's going to be totally seamless for them to just walk in, present their material, and the Pearl Nexus is capturing everything. And if you want to be able to have that scheduled with events, you can see all of the classroom schedule right here on the touch panel. So you can create a just walk in and teach experience, or you can give that sort of ad hoc experience where someone can walk into the room, log into their content management system and be able to automatically transfer that content into their content management for the students.
Fantastic, which is kind of like, going back to that, for your point, creating some kind of I don't want to say seamless, right, but a connected type of way of making sure that it's just from an easy use, right?
Yeah.
Because it's sometimes of the complexity, especially for at a university, the professor or house of worship or wherever they're going in or from a lecture, the presenter being able to go in and quickly just get everything ready to go.
We don't want a presenter to be thinking about technology.
No.
We want them to be thinking about engaging their students, engaging their audience, presenting great content. And the technology should be in the background doing the work for them.
No, I agree, because I think unfortunately a lot of the times the technology stack becomes, in a way, to your point, it's kind of removing that barrier because you don't want them to be overwhelmed by the experience of trying to, be able to let them do what they need to do to connect with who they're talking to.
Exactly. And, behind all of the, whether it's a classroom, an auditorium, a podcast studio, behind the technology in that room, there's usually someone or a team of people who are administrating those spaces, right? So in our case, we have a cloud infrastructure that supports these devices so that, and I'll show you here, John.
Sure.
For an example here, I can see all my Pearl devices on this campus, and if I want to check on a camera source, it's very easy for me to, at a glance, from any location, be able to check and make sure that I've got my audio, I've got my camera source, and I can be alerted. If someone unplugs an HDMI cable, I can get a notification. So in the case of like a campus, for example, those AV teams, it might only be 4 or 5 guys.
It's true.
They don't have time to be walking 10 minutes across campus to check an HDMI cable. They're managing hundreds of rooms at scale, so that's really where Epiphan can help in providing that dashboard where they can, at a glance, see what's happening across their campus.
And I think that's an important part of it. I mean, I know I have some clients, we've talked about this before, where we've worked together and with some of my own projects, is that having that remote production aspect of being able to manage this from the cloud anywhere, right? Whether that team's on the same campus or geographically they may be
around the world.
Around the world, right?
If you're a corporation, a global corporation, you have offices in different locations around the world. Sometimes you want to do that hybrid event where you're sending video from one continent to another. And with technologies like SRT streaming, it's possible to do very low latency video across great distances right over the internet.
Yeah, and that's critical, I think, at your point. So we've talked about the Nexus, we've talked about what you guys are in here. What else are you guys
Yeah, why don't you follow me this way,
Sure.
John, and I'll give you a little bit of a tour.
Absolutely.
So really where Epiphan started was with these capture cards. And you know, these are probably the most reliable capture card on the market. You just plug them in, there's no software, they just work. That's why NASA uses them on the International Space Station.
There you go.
For our live event guys, they really love these devices. This is Pearl Nano. This is a single channel encoder. So you can throw in a camera and a laptop. You can pass through your HDMI to a projector, throw this down in a lectern in a breakout room, and very simple controls to just start your recording and start your stream.
Wow.
So
Okay, I love it.
Great for events.
Absolutely.
We already talked about the Pearl Nexus before, but here you see it with the rack mount chassis. So it's 1 RU, you can just throw it into your lectern. And actually we've got our little trophy shelf here. Pearl Nexus was awarded Best Overall Product for Higher Ed AV 2 years consecutive.
Congratulations.
So we're very proud of that. We
Absolutely.
are HETMA certified, and what it means is that campuses can rely on this technology and deploy it at scale.
Right, absolutely.
And then our flagship product, this has been around for a while, but like I said, it's evolved with over 30 firmware updates over the years. But Pearl 2 is 6 channels of encoding and recording, streaming. So when you need that big box that can capture all of the sources in an auditorium, record them, stream them, Pearl 2, 4K. This is just a powerhouse device for all kinds of different applications. We do have some camera prototypes in the works as well. You know, there's a lot of options out there for PTZ cameras, but one of the things that we found is that, you know, connecting your cameras and deploying them, there's still some friction there.
Right.
So we're trying to remove some of those barriers of deploying PTZ cameras with an easy pairing system.
Okay.
It'll still have all the great features like 4K 60,
Sure.
you know, NDI, SRT, auto tracking. So watch for in the next year or so to see what we come up with, but these prototypes have definitely got quite a bit
Very
of interest
interesting.
here
We'll stay tuned for that one.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then finally, we'll squeeze in over here. This is Pearl Mini. This is a great device for scenarios where maybe you have a house of worship or a small studio or a podcasting space, and you want to do like maybe 3 cameras, or you want to create a program, a switch program with some ISOs. This is 3 channels of recording. You've got a nice big 7-inch touchscreen here where I can do my switching here on the screen. But if you have want to have a volunteer-friendly space where you just put one nice big start button for them, they can walk into a room, press a button, and start their recording or start their stream. We've also been doing a lot of work in our control systems to make it easier for, you know, lots of different folks to walk in and, you know, be able to control these devices. So here we have a Stream Deck plugin. It's right on the Elgato marketplace.
Yep.
So anything you can do with a Pearl, we can have a button for it on Stream Deck. So everything from starting recordings and streams to having your audio meters and video previews right here on the Stream Deck buttons. So,
which is super helpful, because I think we've talked about that for previously in productions, that, and then talking with Elgato this week here during the show, is that this has become such a useful tool for the TD or who's ever on their production to be able to visually see and be able to hotkey and just quickly switch between. And if having this integration now with Epiphan and what you guys have done has been fantastic.
Absolutely.
So, not that it wasn't there, but it was like...
Yeah, you had to use Companion app
That's
before,
true.
which is great. And the live event pros are familiar with Companion app, but we want to make this more approachable for, you know, more novice production teams. So
true.
If we can, you know, Stream Deck being as popular it is, and we see some great things coming with Stream Deck, so we're excited to be compatible with their whole system.
No, you're absolutely right. And then that's true for universities and for houses of worship, where you have volunteers, you have people that aren't, you know, it's just not in their wheelhouse, so to speak, in terms of their daily as a production specialist, that they make it into that role. But for somebody who's just coming in and supporting as a support role, this is just like, I'm really excited about you guys working on that.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, John, our philosophy at Epiphan is about being an open ecosystem. We want to integrate with everything, and we're always listening to our users for what features and functions they want. So if they ask for a new protocol or a new control system compatibility, we're always listening, and we want to keep adding features. So we don't view these devices as a one and done. We see them as a platform that will continue to evolve with the industry.
Totally, absolutely. So you've kind of covered the mini and pulling this through. I think that's kind of exciting that what you've kind of walked through the whole family of products and looking at that. And I'm excited about where you guys are going and what you're developing.
Yeah, we do have some things cooking up. I can't tell you all about it this year, but what I can say is that we're not done with these devices. We've got some new products coming later this year and into next year as well.
Okay.
And I'm very excited about what we've got.
Well, I will be too.
Works.
Yeah, because I think that's exciting to see just how it's evolving, right? And it's not just from an Epiphan perspective that you guys have partnerships with QSys and you've created an open REST type API protocol now for allow people to integrate into the family of products and the platform.
Yeah, we recently added an API Explorer to our devices. So in the web interface, you can click the REST API and you can see all the API commands and you can copy paste them. So that for those developers, for people who want to create their own workflow and build their IP, we want these devices to be an open system that they can integrate however they want to.